So last week, Fat Shark announced that Darktide was going to be getting a pretty significant improvement on its crafting system. This is great because it's been a sore spot for a long time, and it's nice to see some progress. However, today I wanted to talk about some of the other late game issues that Darktide has, which I feel is really turning people away from the game. This is because of some design choices that I think should be changed or modified. I know that there are many other issues with the game, but if the core fanbase has something that they can stick with, then we can hopefully see the ship turn around over time. A lot of people have said over the past month or two that the game will probably be really good in 6 to 12 months, but if things keep going the way they are, I just don't see many people sticking around for that to happen, even the long-term fans. So that's why I think fixing the late game issues is a great starting point, and that's also why I won't discuss the stability of the game. Yes, it's a significant issue that should be addressed, but that's not the focus for today. I still believe that revamping the penances would be a great way to improve the game, but this is something purely focused on the late game aspect of Darktide. The outline for this video is simple. I will run through what I feel is a late game problem list, and as I go, I'll just be giving some constructive points for Fat Shark to hopefully implement. I want to throw my hat in the ring on how to help make this game better, because I think it has a shit ton of potential. So let's hope that some of these issues are fixed down the line. Let's say, for example, that you are now level 30. You have finished the below average story of the game. What do you do now? Well, you can keep playing the missions to your heart's content. But you can only play the missions that Fat Shark have selected. Yeah, I don't know why Fat Shark designed the game this way when they had nailed it in Vermintide 2. But you should have the freedom to be able to pick and choose every aspect that you want. I've mentioned it before, and the community has as well. In the patch that's coming in next week, they will upgrade the number of pre-selected missions to have 16 choices, but that's still not what we have been asking for. So hopefully, in time, we'll be able to pick the mission, the difficulty, and ideally as well, special modifiers and secondary objectives. If you have a challenge to do scriptures, but you don't feel like doing level 5 difficulty to be able to try and hunt for scriptures while madly trying to stay alive, then yeah, you're in a bit of a tight spot there. So having a bit more freedom to play how we want would definitely go a long way. When you are max level in Darktide, there really isn't much to do in terms of progression anymore. You can choose a different class and try that out, but it's mostly just delaying the inevitable. The simple fact is that after you reach level 30, there's very little left to achieve. You've basically done what there is to do in the game. When this happens in other games, you usually see a shift to focusing on the gear and getting your equipment decked out with all the Gucci and premium stuff. This also ends up with the side effect of having various special bonuses or different versions of weapons that can change how you play. So you end up with different combinations and you discover a greater depth to the game over time, and that can give you a lot of enjoyment in discovering new ways to play even while you're at the max level. However, in Darktide, none of that is encouraged, none of that is even present. The weapons that you have need to be purchased from the in-game store, and if you want the weapon to be useful, you then have to upgrade it, which is a barrier. The store only sells weapons at rare value, which means you have to invest in buying it and then upgrade it, hoping that it turns out nicely. In my opinion, that isn't enjoyable or satisfying in any way, because a lot of people would just rather not touch the grimy slot machine that is weapon progression in Darktide. It means that you just don't want to explore different options or commit to things that may end up being a waste of hard-earned in-game currency. Even with the changes that are coming to the crafting system, I don't think that this changes the underlying problem of having to buy the various weapons in the first place. My solution to this? Well, I think that the underlying problem is not getting a variety of weapons as rewards. The game does give you one weapon sometimes when you finish a mission, but I'd love to see this expanded. I think we should be rewarded more and with incentives to try harder difficulties. So I would have a guaranteed weapon reward for finishing any mission tier 3 or above. Then, based on if you have any special modifiers or grimoires, you have a higher chance of the weapon being a military grade or master crafted. Essentially, if you're putting in the blood, sweat, and tears to finish a tier 5, or even doing a tier 4 with Grims, then you definitely deserve a high-quality weapon as a reward for your efforts, not just a very small chance of it. This would be great to let players have healthy experimentation with their classes and builds. Sure, down the line, you may have too many weapons to pick from, and it might devalue a master-crafted weapon, but that's exactly the whole point of late-game content, finding the best of the best in terms of setups and enjoying how it can flip the experience that you have had so far, making your veteran a close combat shotgun specialist or making him a long-range sniper. The freedom is in your hands, and I think that that would be great to see in Darktide. Customization is quite heavily linked with monetization, so these issues are essentially two sides of the same coin. While I think game developers should never be money hungry, it's hard to expect anything amazing when Fat Shark are owned by Tencent, a company that is pretty notorious for monetizing anything that they can. In my opinion, this is a late game issue because customization is being criminally underused. My solution to this? Well, I touched on it in my penances video, but I will say this again. We need a way to earn Aquillas. I don't like monetization at all either, and I only have the Steel Legion cosmetic for my veteran because of the small amount of Aquillas I received as a pre-order bonus. The only way that I will ever agree with monetization being there is if there is a way to earn everything in-game with hard work and effort. To me, that gives its own self-respect and achievement. To me, it's like you have proven to yourself that you did it and you didn't take the easy road. But the easy road is open to those that want it. If players had a way to earn Aquillas or exchange auto dockets to get Aquillas, I think that a lot of people would be far happier with customization. Then Fat Shark would have all the proof that they need to start busting out the cosmetics in the store. I think we all know for a fact that Fat Shark has got a ton of different designs up their sleeve, especially things like the Death Corpse of Krieg or outfits for the Catachan Jungle Fighters. Like, these would be awesome customizations to have, and of course they're probably gonna try and monetize that, but it would definitely help give late game players something else to achieve if we were able to earn Aquillas, and it would give satisfaction for a hard-earned cosmetic armor that makes you look like a badass. When Darktide was about to be released, one of the things that the developers started to seem quite proud of was creating different playable locations. These would be larger in size and allow for a fair bit of replayability because you never go through the whole environment in one mission. You essentially have players going through different pieces of the same puzzle area in different directions, and that gives you a ton of variety. This sounded awesome to me, but the reality of this is that because a lot of missions overlap in the same kind of environment, none of them stand out to me except for Throneside, because it has a completely different aesthetic. The missions that have great visuals, they're all there, but it all melds into the same blur of blood, guts, and dark hallways. Some areas have cool added details where one gate or a bridge can be open or closed, but the overall impact is tiny. Late game, this is a problem because things don't feel as unique, and eventually it all devolves further into feeling boring. Maybe it's because I played these maps a lot from the closed beta and pre-order beta onwards, but from what I have heard, the community and other people have felt a similar issue with this. So, my solution? Well, I would say take us to other planets in the Mobian domain. I have already mentioned this in previous videos, but in the character creation, we get a wonderful range of worlds that would provide some awesome environments that stand out more than the hallways and factories of Atoma Prime. This can easily tie in with the story of the Mobian Sixth being able to reach further across the sector than we expected. Personally, I think that it would be better to create levels individually from now on to help them feel a bit more unique and personalized with different objectives to complete, and that way they end up being a bit more fleshed out, but that's just my thoughts. So those are some of the issues for Darktide's late game phase, and some potential ways to fix them. I am no expert when it comes to game design, but I think that some of these changes are somewhat simple, and if they are implemented, we might be able to have a decent player base stick with Darktide, but that's just my thoughts. Let me know what you all think in the comments. I hope that you all enjoyed the video, and if you did, you already know what to do. I have been Kiv, and I will see you all on the next one.